you so much for joining us. I hope that you had a beautiful weekend and this today, very, very sunny, beautiful Monday. This is what we're talking about. There's so much happening in the financial markets, but most importantly, you may have heard the Senate has resumed in Washington. And so all eyes are on the next round of stimulus package and what that's going to look like for all of us. Mainly, the Senate and the government has said that they are focused on three things: our kids going back to school, and number two, unemployment, jobs, and three, lastly, on the vaccine and other healthcare provisions. So hopefully we have some news sooner than rather than later, because we do know in the next 2 weeks that unemployment relief of $600 more per week for those who are unemployed does cease on July 31st. And so we really want to have some more information. On other matters, let's talk about the market. The market closed up, the Dow closed up between 8 and 9 points. So not a lot, but the NASDAQ shined today, up 263 points. Definitely a lot of activity. We saw really Amazon just completely blockbuster performance today. In addition, more news on the front of layoffs. We saw actually news come out of Southwest Airlines. We certainly know the travel industry has been impacted significantly, and that certainly has hit our friends at Southwest Airlines. In fact, 17,000 employees have noted that they have filed for like not working there, unfortunately, in different matters, either expecting to take a package to be able to leave the company sooner rather than later, be on furlough, or other matters in terms of reducing their time working in the travel industry. So a lot, unfortunately, some more bad news in the travel space. So there's gonna be more to watch, and we're gonna get you there. But today, I'm very excited to introduce you to my very dear friend. She is someone that I certainly say is quite an inspiration to myself. Rani Mani joins us. She is head of employee advocacy at the one and only Adobe. Now, those of you who follow me on social media know that I am proudly an Adobe insider, and for many, many reasons, but I will tell you probably the number one reason is this woman. Rani Mani, thank you so much for joining us.
Winnie, thank you so much for having me. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, my friend. So Rani is certainly someone that many of us look up to and inspire to be, because Rani, you have definitely, brought us together. So many influencers across the world. In fact, it's not just the United States. But I know this is something that you have done very, very well. There's obviously a lot of companies that say they embrace others of all of diverse backgrounds and whatnot. But Rani, you certainly talk the talk and walk the walk. And we are very honored to be part of your tribe. So maybe, Rani, we could start with that a little bit. If you don't mind just jumping and kind of talking to us a little bit about what your role is at Adobe and what you do.
Well, my role is actually heading up employee advocacy. So essentially doing for our employee base what we are doing for external influencers as well. Because when, as you know, influence can come from anywhere, right? Inside or outside the company. So mobilizing a passionate army of employees and helping them figure out how they might amplify the work that Adobe is doing is really my day job. And then as an extension of that, I work with the teams that work with influencers such as yourself. And so program managing and helping coordinate and herd the cats, as we say, right? So we have a really, really blessed program with the Adobe Insiders group that you're a part of. And really figuring out a gift to get plan is really what my main role is, right? What makes your heart sing, and what can we do as Adobe to leverage our brand and our audience to help you with yours? And so it's a real symbiotic relationship, and it's truly the highlight of my time at Adobe is working with all of you.
Oh, that is so kind of you, Ronnie. And I will say that, having a chance to meet with all these incredible people that make up your influencers, I know that the feeling is mutual. Like all of us absolutely adore you. And I think the reason is because you've always made us feel very special, that we matter and that we bring value not only to Adobe, but also to each other and you as well. And that sort of that feeling that we belong one another and we're there to support each other. It's a very, very special group, and certainly one that I think that all of us echo that feeling of just feeling of being really involved in something special. I know this is something that Rani, I would love to talk to you about. We've seen this a lot of people who have just graduated from college, or maybe are going through job transition. We also know that almost half of Americans right now who are able to work are unemployed, and yet a lot of times people are saying, even on social media, and I'm getting messages from my friends are saying, um, I feel like I can't get forward. I can't get successful. I can't get to a point where, someone's going to take my call. And I know this is something you're very passionate about, sort of deconstructing success and what it takes to be successful, especially in today's very challenging job market, right? So maybe we can talk about that. You've actually had a lot of experience working with a lot of executives at Adobe and other companies. When you think of success, what does that mean to you, Rani?
You know, Success is about how can you help the most people, right? I would say it's about stepping back and thinking about how can you be of most service to the most people, and really going within to figure out what is your calling in life, what were you put on here on earth to do, and as part of that gift and that talent, how can you extend it to help other people be successful? And Robin Sharma says it the best. I don't know if you know Robin Sharma, Winnie. He's a Canadian, Indian-born Canadian, who says the person who helps the most wins. And so I would say it's all about helping other people make their dreams come true. Is truly the ticket to your own success.
I love that. So helping the most people is the win, and
It-
and to reach your success.
that's
And,
right.
and so you've certainly done that, Ronnie. So when you think about maybe the people who have helped you reach that higher level of success, um, what lessons have you learned from them? I'm sure you carry a lot of that. I mean, with your own kids and all of us that work with you.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, some of the things that I've really taken away from all of you as external influencers, my children, my employees that I'm fortunate enough to work with, a couple of things. I would say one is everything is figure outable, right? That there's really nothing that is beyond us to figure out if we're willing to kind of take it and break it down into bite-sized chunks and make it manageable and not get overwhelmed by things. So this mantra or philosophy of everything is figure outable. And then second, I would say that nothing is really impossible, right? One of the quotes that I love the most, Winnie, is this quote from a book called The Phantom of the Toll Booth. And it says, many things are possible just as long as you don't know they're impossible. So attacking life as if everything is a conditional yes, and there's really nothing that you can't do if you don't put your mind, if you, so long as you put your mind to it. And so I think those two things of just really moving forward and knowing that the answer is within and it's up to you to make it happen, and really don't take no for an answer, and don't allow those negative kind of storytelling to take place in your head. That's really been that's really been my kind of life mantra, and that's really what's helped me get forward, or press forward, I should say.
I love that. Everything is figure outable. That should
Yep.
be like everything's figure outable, and everything can be broken down into chunks, and keeping that positive attitude. Ronnie, maybe you can give us some backstory, because I feel like those who haven't had the gift of meeting you in person yet may gain from this. Can you give us a little bit of a story so they know like how far you've come, and how you've gotten to this positive mindset?
Yeah, well, so I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I was born and raised to two amazing parents who are originally from Kerala, India. And within 90 days, when I was born, I was taken back to India because I was born with a disability that the closest thing that they could diagnose is cerebral palsy. And so I couldn't walk at all when I was born. And being from India and being from Kerala specifically, my parents both believed in Ayurvedic massages and treatments. And my dad, especially, was very much into Eastern medicine. And so I was raised by my grandmother until I was old enough to go to kindergarten. So I was raised in Kerala with my grandma until I was 5. Got tons of Ayurvedic massages and Eastern medical attention, if you will. And then my mom is a nurse, a Western nurse, and so I've also had like 18 surgeries and all the benefits of Western medicine as well. And so through a long and arduous process of surgeries and massages and all sorts of other physical rehabilitation, I'm able to walk and do all sorts of things that I wasn't able to do as a child. But positivity and just knowing that the world is my oyster, that there's really nothing that is without, outside bounds or outside my ability to do, were things that were just drilled into me from a very early age. And so with that, I honestly, I think I've told you the story, Winnie, that I didn't even know that I was disabled until I was 12. And even at that, the only reason I knew is because I overheard my parents talk to the school about a school that I was on my way to, and they wanted to make sure that the school bus and the hotels were accessible. And that's really, that was my first kind of entree into what does it mean to be disabled, and that I was somewhat different from others. And so it's a real testament to their strength of character and how they raised me, and how they wanted to make sure I knew that I was expected to carry my weight and become a contributing member of society. And so I've always taken that with me. And I've used those difficulties, if you will, to really propel me forward. And I've just got this resilience and this grit, if you will, right? Like nothing is really beyond me to do. And so I figure if I could go through the things I've gone through, there's really nothing I could put in front of me that would seem difficult or out of my reach, if you will. So
I
super
love
grateful for early beginning.
early beginning, and nothing was out of reach. Even though things were out of reach for you, nothing was out of reach, which is incredible because your parents, if I'm hearing you, your parents gave you such a gift, your grandmother as well, right? Of basically you didn't know that this was anything special, that this was just what you were given, and you could do whatever you wanted to do.
That's right.
Incredible,
Not
incredible.
I was expected to,
You're
right?
expected to. Hmm.
If I'm going to
So
take up room on Earth, right? If I'm going to take up space, I'm expected to contribute and contribute well. And so,
I love that. You're expected to contribute and contribute well. Can you give us an example of what you were expected to contribute?
well, back to this whole everybody has a reason to be on Earth, figure out what yours is. And I think I figured out early that mine is to relate to people, draw at stories from people, help people believe that they can do what they are destined to do. And so that's really been kind of my calling. And then when I went and served with Mother Teresa in Calcutta, India, I took a year of service. It was part of a service learning program that I was part of in college. And during that time specifically, it was very evident to me that my life's calling was to really be in the relation business or relationship business, and really connect with people and figure out what people wanted to do in life. What makes your heart sing, and how can I help you do the things that make your heart sing? So, which is why when working with employees and influencers is just, I often say it's somewhat criminal to say that this is a job, right? I love it so much, and it's so much fun, and it's so gratifying to actually get paid for it. Seems wrong in some ways, right? So,
Well, I love this because it's so true. You bring so much happiness to so many of us. So you have that, your family had the same expectation of you, doing something and doing something really well. But you actually reflect that to all of us too. You actually make us feel like we are doing a good job, and you make us want to be better, to be in to be in your audience for sure. What would you say, Ronnie, is your sort of number one secret to success? Because I feel like there's so much story here. I mean, you've told us a little bit about your background, but is there more? Because I mean, you're really impressive as it is already.
Well, the secret to success, and you're super generous. I appreciate you saying all these nice things. I would say it's about filling your own cup, right? To the point that it runneth over. I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of self care because, like they say, in the airlines, and my children always roll their eyes when I say this about how you have to put on your mask first before you help anybody else with their oxygen mask, right? And so I do a ton of like introspection, meditation, prayer, whatever it is, so that I'm whole and I'm grounded so that I can be of most service to the most people. Because if I'm not pulled together, Winnie, there's nothing I can do for anyone else. And so that I
And
would
you
say,
you do a lot for a lot of everybody else, Ronnie.
well, you would think, I would hope, but not nearly as much as I'd like to, honestly.
What would you well tell us more. What else would you like to do? What do you feel like you're still missing?
Well, there's so much in terms of just philanthropy and giving, and so many boards I'd like to sit on, and so much I would like to do monetarily, right? In terms of, as, to your point at the top of the show, so many people devastated by the financial crisis, right? And so many people in need that I would love to help, and not just financially, but just through coaching and mentoring and Winnie, but with four kids in the home, there's only so much in the day. And so I'm just learning that there's a season and a time for everything. And right now, my time is to do the things that I'm doing right now and invest fully in the children. And when they're out of the house, then we can think about doing more.
So tell us about your relationship with your kids. As a mom, I know you're as parents, right? I think when we look at our children, we see like they're our pride and joy, right? And like you said, there's a purpose, that there's a reason why we're at home right now, you and I, and with our kids. So during this time, I mean, your kids. Right now, your job is to invest in them. What are you investing during this time? Everybody's like sort of sheltering in place. This coronavirus, certainly the silver lining, if you will, is that we're spending a lot more time with our children. What does your day look like now?
You know, so I've got two of them at home. I have four children in total. One is stuck in India because of the coronavirus. He was studying seventh grade or eighth grade, actually, and he's been stuck there since March. So we're anxiously awaiting his return. My oldest is back at college in New York, but the middle two are home, and the other two I talk to daily. But what I'm really kind of pouring into them is back to what makes your heart sing, right? What makes your heart sing? Who do you want to be in the world? And let's work towards that, right? There is no such thing as accidental success. Let's be on purpose and by design. And so, if that's the case, what does that mean? What do you want to do, and how are we going to strategically get you to where you want to be? And so, each of them has a little different path, and so I'm just spending loads and loads of time with them. And basically, the filter I use, Winnie, is I say, if it's going to shorten your life or shatter your dreams, I'm going to get involved, right? I'm going to be one of those helicopter stage moms. If it doesn't shorten your life or shatter your dreams, then you have complete agency. That's kind of my philosophy.
Oh my goodness, that I love that. So if it doesn't shorten your life or shatter your dreams, go at it.
Go
That's
ahead.
the Ronnie philosophy. I love that. In fact, I want to say a quick hello to our friends Vincenzo and Kelly, two of our insiders who we love. I know they want to jump on because, I mean, we all love you, Ronnie, but goodness gracious. So it doesn't shatter your dreams. It doesn't, wait, say that again. Tell me that one more time. So I want to make sure I write this down.
If it
It
doesn't
doesn't
shorten your life or shatter
shorten
your
your
dreams,
life. Mm-hmm.
or shatter your dreams, then I'm going to stay out of it. But if it feels like it's going to shorten your life or shatter your dreams, then I'm going to fight you, right? I'm going to fight you to the nail, and I'm going to meddle, and I'm going to get involved, and you're not going to like me, and that's okay because I'm not here to be your best friend, right?
Yeah,
But
parents don't have to be their best friend. I say that all the time too. We are there. Like I love that. So it doesn't shorten your life or shatter your dreams. They can go for it. Well, this is incredible. So tell me about this. I mean, Ronnie, you have such a great positive attitude towards life, towards business, towards networking, to relationships. Like you said earlier, you said, I knew I wanted to get into the business or industry of relationships, and you certainly have. You certainly have. What do you do when you get stuck and when you feel overwhelmed? I mean, you have such a, does this happen to you? I'm sure it happens to everybody. What do you do, especially during this time? I'm sure there's days like this, right? That some days you're right now sheltering at home, you're not able to get back into your normal routine. I think a lot of us watching feel that way sometimes too. We're stuck, we're overwhelmed. We want to go out and live life again. How do you get yourself in a better position when that happens to you?
Yeah, and it happens often. And when it happens, it's usually an indication that I'm in my head, right? I'm not acting, I'm philosophizing, I'm pontificating. And so what I typically do is I stop all that nonsense and I say, what is the next right thing for me to do? Again, back to the breaking it down to bite-sized chunks and everything is figure outable. What is the very next right thing for me to do? Whether it be making a phone call or sending an email or whatever that is, right? Something very actionable, something very specific, and then stop thinking about it or talking about it, just go do it. And that often just propels me out of whatever molasses I'm in.
I love that because you said, everything's figure outable, and I just get going. You just get going. You just don't make excuses, and you put on your big girl pants and you make
That's
things
right.
happen, right?
That's
Um,
right.
I love
Not
that. I
everything. One little thing, whatever that one specific next step is, just go do that.
just go do that. Just go that. Even if it's a small step, you just got to take action.
That's right.
I love that, Ronnie. I agree with you completely. I think if you take a look at most successful people, they do have a sort of aversion to procrastination, right? There's almost that itch that you need to get going and make things happen.
Right.
When you think about this, I mean, talk about your kids with me. How old are the kids right now? How old are your kids that are home right now?
Oh my goodness, they're too old, Winnie. So the oldest is 21, and I don't know how that happened. I barely turned 20 last week myself,
That's right.
right?
You're still 20. We're all 20 in our minds.
Right. And then I've got a 19-year-old, and then I've got a 16-year-old, and soon to be 14-year-old.
Well, you've got a great group there. So when you talk to them, like, um, I'm sure you've thought about this. We talk about this a lot. Like when you look at them, you probably give them advice, right? Um, like, what are some things you wish you knew when you were younger?
Oh my gosh, so many things, right? Like, I think it's back to we're in this together, right? Like, there's no such thing as individual heroics. It's back to everything is figure outable. It's back to nothing is beyond our reach, right? These are all the things that I was kind of instilled with as a youngster myself. And those are the very same things that I pass on to my children, that this notion of we're unstoppable. We're unstoppable, but we're also meant to help, right? We need to be as successful as possible so that we could contribute and be a part of other people's success.
Yes.
And this is not an individual sport, right? This is a team sport.
It's
It's
a team.
lonely at top, and then it's only fulfilling when you go there together. So bring as many people along for the ride as possible.
Bring as many people along the ride as possible. You certainly have done that, Ronnie, with our Adobe group. I mean, the group seems to get larger each and every time. So when you tell your children this, um, you know, I think sometimes, especially when you're a younger person, sometimes you're like, it's just so overwhelming. I have so many friends, or I have people that like me or don't like me, and they go through sort of that bumpy ride sometimes, right? Like you have teenagers, you've got 20-some-year-olds. Um, like now that you're sitting back and you're watching them go through what you went through, um, do you have talks? Do you have these parent children talks about these experiences?
No, I do. I do. We have like mother child dates, and we go on trips, and but I think the key is we need to talk when they're ready to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 have these like lectures. They never go over very well, but when they're in the moment to learn, when they have something to talk about, then I try to seize the moment and have these conversations. But yeah, I'm looking for every and all opportunities to be in
I
their
love
life and be a part of that. It's funny though. I think our buddy Romano often talks to us about this, right? About how, as a parent of young children, you're tending to their physical needs. Have they eaten? What are they wearing? But as parents of older children, I feel like I'm more of a coach, right? I'm very much a coach and a mentor, and I'm um, kind of shaping them and directing them as opposed to anything else. And so it's a different season. I get a little teary because you could almost tell that they're quickly going to be out of your wings, right? And so the hope
no, you
is
guys
that they'll. Well, I'm hoping. Yeah.
You're hoping. Well, I mean, certainly you've done a great job. So, I mean, I'm sure that they're very happy to be in your wing right now, and in time, we will get there. But I mean, think about the amazing story that you've shared with your own family, your parents and your grandmother, and I'm sure one day they'll be saying the same thing about you, Ronnie. Because I will say that I think, yeah, our kids do grow up very quickly, but it's these very difficult times and these heartfelt discussions that I think we will remember. And certainly that you have given us such a gift today of sharing your experiences and how you've talked to your kids. And not only that is impacted such a huge organization like Adobe and so many of us who are part of your influencer group from across the globe. So with that, thank you. Thank you, Ronnie. I'm so grateful that you could spend some time with us today, and certainly you've given us a lot to think about. What are some things that you're looking forward to, Ronnie, for the future, and most importantly, how can we keep in touch with you?
Oh, Winnie, thank you so much for having me. This future, so many, right? So many things. The sky's the limit. I wanna. One of the things on my bucket list, Winnie, is to go travel the seven wonders of the world. The old and new, and so I think I'm gonna have a, what do you call that? A eat, love, and pray, or eat, pray, and love kind of year in a couple of years after the kids are all gone, and just go do some of those things on my bucket list. In terms of how you can get a hold of me or keep in touch with me, Twitter, I think, would be the best bet. Rani Mani 0707.
I
So,
love
yeah.
it. Okay, so you're going to be traveling a lot, Ronnie. It sounds like
I'm hoping to, absolutely. There's a
the
lot
seven
to see.
wonders of the world. The
Old
seven,
and new.
the old and new, the seven wonders of the world, old and new sound really, really exciting. I just want to say I'm going to speak on behalf of so many of our friends and influencers who are joining us today to say, take us with you, Ronnie, because we would like to we would like to join you on your journey. Thank you for everything you've done, Ronnie, for all of us. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. You have not only allowed us to spend time with you and all the great people at Adobe, but you have touched all of us in our hearts. And for that is what we are most grateful for your friendship and for caring for us and really the gifts that you give out to the world. So truly, truly thank you for all that. And with that, I hope and invite all of you to follow Ronnie along on Twitter. She is quite active there, and I certainly am, and we would love to see you. And thank you so much for all of you who've tuned in today and spent time with Ronnie, Mani, and myself. And with that, thank you. Stay safe, and of course, we will see you again tomorrow, right again at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, wherever you're joining us from. And thank you so much for all of you who joined me this morning on Fox Business as well. Take care now.